And today's session is designed to give you clarity on how to make your study abroad dreams happen. So, a lot of students in Nigeria want to study abroad, and many students are confused about where to start. Some students are worried about things like tuition fees. Some people are not sure about the scholarship options. Some people believe that, oh, I must write I of the file I want to start. Some people have documents, but they don't know what they're eligible for. They don't know what course to study. And some students are experiencing delays simply because they don't have the right information that they need to start. And the truth is that many students don't miss the UK admission opportunities because they're not qualified. They miss out because either they are applying late, or they are following the wrong advice, or they are choosing the wrong route, or they don't even understand the university process, and they don't understand what they require for the visa process. So that's why today's webinar is very important. So today you'll be hearing from the official representative of Edgehill University in the UK, and you learn all about the available programs, you learn about the tuition, the scholarship opportunities, WIEC requirements, English language, the application process, just generally about student life opportunities in the UK, and what to do next if you are serious about applying. Most importantly, this is the opportunity for you to ask questions directly and get accurate information. So you're not hearing maybe this or maybe that. We are telling you for sure how it is and how it happened. So please stay until the end, because during the Q&A sessions, many of the questions will be answered. The questions that you're afraid to ask anybody, you're going to ask them today. Things that you're unsure, you're going to ask them today, and you will get your answers. So you can drop your questions in the Q&A section, and we encourage you to do that during the webinar. Any question at all it is that you have about the UK in general, about Edgehill University, and your questions will be answered properly. So our team will be very active in the session, and would also display like our contact numbers for you. So if you want direct support, you can also reach out to the team. So just please relax, take notes, stay with us to the end, because this session will genuinely help you to take the next step towards your study abroad dream. Right, so before we continue, let me quickly introduce Study with FM and who we are as an organization. So Study with FM is a global team. We have one of our office in the UK. We have an office in Iran as well. I think we have our director, Mahin, is here today. Mahin, do you want to just say hi to everybody? I think, but she's here somewhere. And we also have the head of the team in Iran, Hamid, as well. Yeah, so Study with Hem is an international team, and we support students to secure admissions, prepare applications, and receive guidance through their study abroad journey. So over the years, we've helped students across different levels. Students going for undergrad programs. We've helped students who are going for postgraduate programs. We've helped students who are going for MBA programs, and even students who are applying through like foundation pathways. So our role is to make sure that the process is very clear for you. The process is very, very easy for you. So we help you understand your options, review your documents, guide you through your application, and support you with the next steps after the admission. So throughout this webinar, our team will also be very active to answer questions for you. And Wally will be taking some of your questions. And if at any point you are interested in applying or speaking with the counselor directly, please send us a message on WhatsApp using the number that we'll share later. Also, if you have your documents ready, such as your WIEC results, your international passport, your transcripts, your certificate, your CV, or your reference letter, you can send them to us immediately, and we can begin reviewing your profile. So the most important thing today is, don't just attend this webinar, but plan to take action with every information that you receive. Plan to take action. So We're going to move on to why we are here today. We are here to hear about Edgehill. We're here to hear about how we can apply to Edgehill University. And let's just move on to our special guest speaker tonight. So at this point, I would like to introduce our special guest speaker for tonight, Walid. Walid is the official representative for Edgehill University, and he'll be speaking to us about Edgehill, the available programs, about the scholarship, about admission requirements, student life, just everything we need to know about the university. And this is a very valuable opportunity for you because you're hearing from someone who can give you accurate information. It's not them say, or maybe this or maybe that. You're getting the correct information today. So please pay close attention, take notes, keep your questions ready for the Q&A session after his presentation, and ask as much as you need to. So Walid, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will now hand it over to you so that you can give us what we are here to hear.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Walid, we can hear you.
Nice. So, hi everyone. Thank you very much for coming in today and joining us. So, as Victoria was explaining all through her previous presentation, so I'm from Edgehill, working closely with Study with FM, and today I just came to give you a brief presentation about our university, so Edgehill University, who we are, what we do, what's available, and obviously if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. So once again, reintroducing myself. So I'm Walid Ben Darsha. I'm the International Recruitment and Marketing Officer at Edgehill University. So I'll be happy to explain everything you need to know, but also I'll be happy to help you throughout the journey as well. And hopefully if you come through Compass, I'll be able to see you and take it from there. Let me start by kind of giving you a quick overview about Edgehill, like who we are as a university, just to give you an idea on how we compare with other universities. So basically, we're a mid-table university. So we're not top, we're not Cambridge, we're not Oxford, but we're not bottom of the table either. We're somewhere in the middle, depending on the ranking. You can find us anywhere between 35th to, let's say, 60th. We have plenty of accolades related to the university for accommodation, for one of the best universities for career prospects in the Northwest, but also across the country. You can see from the stats I'm displaying here, so we have about 96% of our graduates going into work within 15 months of graduating. But the one that I kind of like is top 20 in the UK for the happiest graduates. And when we talk about happiest graduates, that means that the overall journey is very interesting for students, very satisfying, and the overall experience, they're happy with it, whether it's from a quality of the course perspective or the work perspective, but also the overall journey, so support and everything in between, which is good to have. So we've been also ranked University of the Year, awarded by the Daily Mail University Guide 2026, and winners of different awards as well. So I won't spend too much time talking to you about the different accolades, but what I would say is why you should pick Edgehill. So 3 things that comes back, and I promise you I didn't make these up. So basically, this is why I get back from students, international students that are in our campus. When I talk to them, these are the 3 things that always come back when asked why they chose Edgehill or why they would recommend Edgehill. So the first thing is experience. And when we talk about experience, it's different things related to it. So the first thing is a campus university, which means everything as part of your studies will be located within the same place. Your teachers, your lectures, your library, everything as part of your studies, but also outside. So your sports facilities. I'll talk about all of these a bit later on, but just to say it's kind of a one-stop shop. So everything will be available on campus, which makes it a really vibrant campus and a really vibrant atmosphere. The second thing will be the support you'll get. So we have different support services, from helping you get in a job to helping you with maybe your well-being if you feel unwell, to helping you connect with people, find job opportunities, placements, and so on. And then the last few things would be the high student satisfactions. So usually across our cohort of students, they are highly satisfied with their studies, with their journey. As I said, top 20 in the UK for happiest graduates. So the overall journey, they're happy with it and they're satisfied with their journey. The second thing is value. So when we talk about value, there are a few components to it. The first thing is value for money. So I know the fees might sound expensive when I talk about the fees later on, but compared to other UK universities, the fees are really competitive. So we offer one of the lowest fees in the UK. But what you get in return is a good return on investment because for the fees you'll be paying the university and the quality of teaching, the overall experience, is kind of you get that feel that your money might be well spent into when choosing to study with us. The second thing is we have career focused degrees. So our curriculum, regardless of which area of studies you choose to study, is inspired by industry. I'll give you an example. For example, if you take the business school or MBA, business management courses at master's level, so we partner with more than 800 SMEs or small companies in the UK. So those companies come to us, to our business school, with problems they have or issues their business is facing. And all the data we get from those companies serve two purposes. So the first one is designing our curriculum to make it accurate with what is happening in the sector or overall in the industry. And the second thing is exposing our students to what is actually happening, to live consultancy jobs, to real problems that are happening to businesses and kind of helping them solving those businesses, but also part of their coursework, exams, and so on. The aim is that by the end of the degree, the students will be able to be fully ready into getting a job and hopefully improving their experience as well. The last thing I would say is location. So we're located in a town called Ormskirk. It's about half an hour away from Liverpool, so just outside of Liverpool city centre. It's about half an hour away train journey, which means that we are a campus university close to Liverpool, which is one of the biggest cities in the UK, and also has proximity with Manchester. So Manchester is about a 50 minutes drive and about 1 hour and a half in a train journey, which means that overall it gives you access to two of the biggest cities in the UK to find job after you graduate, to relocate when you finish, but also depending on your preferences. So we have two profiles of student, especially at master's level. Those who choose to stay in campus or around the campus, those who be focused on their studies, want to be involved in uni life and get the most of their kind of student life. And then we have those who choose to live in Liverpool, which, as I said, is just about half an hour away. So those wants to be focused on their career, on getting a job, part-time, full-time, getting to enjoy the city life and so on. And whenever they have class, they'd commute to Edgehill. So those would be the two profiles we have. So once again, location is a big advantage. When we say northwest of England, Liverpool, Manchester, but also Ormskirk, we're talking about more affordable cost of living, very friendly region for student-friendly region, so loads of students around the region because of the presence of that many universities within the northwest, but also from a safety perspective as well. So those would be the three reasons I would say, main reasons on why to choose Edgehill. And earlier I talked about student support. So talking about student support, there are a few things related to it. And to be honest with you, I was an international student before, and I came to the UK to study. And when I was talking to universities myself, like you're doing now, they were talking about student support and what's available. And I always thought, but why would I need that? I just want to study, get a job, and that's it. But the thing is, like, when you get into a journey into studying in the UK, in a foreign country, getting into the whole experience, you'll find out really quickly that you will need that support available at a university, whether it's for finding a job, whether it's to point you to the right direction. Sometimes you might feel homesick or you don't know how to take certain things. You might struggle academically to manage your time sometimes. So that's why I always say it's always important to know what support is available and to seek that support as well. The good news is Edgehill does it really well. And I promise you, it's not like something generic that I'm saying, but the fact that our support, we have an international support team, which is dedicated in helping our international students. So you get that kind of personalized approach to it. And this team will be responsible for many things, whether it's pre-arrival, like putting you in contact with current students at our university, picking you up from the airport when you come, if you arrive in certain dates, introducing you to all the different services that you may need, introducing you to the community, to the students available, but also organize a lot of events across the year, whether it's trips, whether it's social events, cultural events, and so on. So it's very important to have that contact. The second kind of support that I would like to highlight is the Careers Corner. So the Careers Corner is one that is really kind of popular with our international students, especially those coming from Nigeria, because I know that when international students come to the campus, one of the first things that they want to know is where to get a job, how to get a job, and if they can work. So the Careers Corner is here for that. So they advertise loads of part-time opportunities, full-time opportunities, placements, volunteering, and so on. So they will be able to help you, like point you to the right direction, but also you'll find all those opportunities available for you to pick and choose from. And they'll help you with things like improving your CV, writing personal statements, helping you for interviews, and so on. So they're here to kind of help you make the most of your job, careers, side of things outside of your studies. And then obviously we have different support services from academic, skills enhancements, if you want to take additional certifications, if you struggle academically, if you maybe struggle with your well-being, if you feel homesick, if you struggle to connect with people, if you have any special needs in terms of studies. For example, if you have any maybe ADHD or dyslexia or anything else, accessibility needs. So all those teams will be here to help you move on and make the most of your journey, basically, and experience. Right, in terms of student life, so as I said, the campus is really vibrant, really kind of really much alive, plenty of things to do. And the first thing that comes to mind is sports. So if you're a sporty person, there are plenty of things available for you, from swimming pool, football pitches, pretty much every sport is played. Maybe not golf or baseball, but anything will be available. So football, if you like running, we have running tracks. If you like rugby, American football, volleyball, basically I won't give you the whole list, but the equipments and facilities are really great in terms of sports. Then you'll have, if you're not a sporty person, that's completely fine. We have societies, so more than 100 societies and clubs based on your hobbies or interest, whether you want to join a society, for example, related to your course. Let's say society for those on studying computer science, you can go into hackathon, competitions, tournaments, events, and so on, but also based on more general hobbies. If you're into drawing, dancing, singing, whatever, there will always be something available for you. Now, generally speaking, we have a lot of facilities available. We have the student union, we have the student union bar, we have praying rooms, we have restaurants, food halls, ATMs, supermarkets, cinema, theaters. So as I said, it's kind of a mini town in itself, the campus. And then the last thing in terms of student life is events. So you'll have plenty of events across the year. Just make sure to be engaged across the year, whether it's social, cultural events, whether it's those related to your studies. There's always something going on across the year. So just make sure to check your emails, check the campus signage to know what's happening on the campus. Right, and if you don't believe me so far, so I made sure to include some of the feedback of our students, those international students that we have on campus. So we have plenty from different nationalities as well. So you can see Mehdi's from Algeria, we have Aboudi from Sudan, we have Adeyemo, who's from Nigeria, Mark from Kenya, and each one of them, sorry, says the same thing. So they like it there. It's a place that they say their dreams can come true, and they find the support they need, and they're overall satisfied with their experience. So if you didn't believe me so far, at least believe these guys. And you can always chat with them through our website. If you go to the website, there's a chat button. You can chat with any of our students if you want to make sure that student life is what I'm saying it is. Right. That was kind of the overall overview about the university, what we do, what's good about us, why to choose us, and what it is like really at the university. So now I'm going to tell you about the courses available at our university. Let me start with postgraduate courses. So those will be the taught master's courses. So generally speaking, as a university, the two faculties or departments where we recruit the most, so where our international students comes to a lot, are business and computer science. So you'll find majority of the Nigerians would be either in computer science or business. So this is where most of them would go. And we have different courses available at master's level. So I kind of sorted them out as conversion courses and progression courses. So let me explain myself. So anything in this slide that is under conversion means that those courses are available for students regardless of their background. So for example, you can see under the business, for example, banking and finance, regardless of what's your background, for example, if you've done history, sociology, psychology, sciences, whatever, you can still apply for any conversion course. You can apply for banking and finance, business management, MBA, and so on. Anything that is under the progression courses, here you'll need a background that is relevant to the discipline you'll be applying for. For example, under business again, if you're looking at accounting and finance, we'll be looking at students who do have a bachelor's degree around the same area. So something around accounting or finance or something that is closely related. Now, so I would say the top courses under each of those two faculties would be data analytics or data science and artificial intelligence under the computer science. So if you like data, if that's something that is interesting to you, if you want to pursue a career in data, those would be the two courses where we recruit the most. So now, if you do have a background in computer science, then data science and AI would be the course that is more tailored to you. If you don't have a background in computer science, data analytics would be the one. So I'm highlighting these two once again because we have most of our international students going into one of these courses depending on their background. It doesn't mean that the other courses are not good. So MSc Computing and the MSc Cybersecurity are very good courses as well. It's just that it's a bit more niche, so students don't tend to go to them as much as they would for data science. But we do have a good amount of students, international students in those courses as well, who are really popular too. So under business, I would say, so all of the courses, we have kind of a fair spread across all our courses, but the top one to choose, I would say, would be the MBA. So the MBA Global get a lot of attraction from students, especially those who do have a business background or those who do have some work experience. So we have two MBAs. We have the MBA Global and the MBA Executive. So the MBA Global has also a option to choose a placement for the second year. So you study 1 year and you can choose to do a placement on your second year. Or you can choose just to do the 1 year course and then you'll be finished. So all the courses listed here will be 1 year long, so 12 months. You start in September, finish in September, or you start in January and finish in January. Now, that being said, so the MBA Global, coming back to the MBA, so the MBA Global is made for those who don't have work experience and the MBA executive is for those who do have some work experience. So if you do have some work experience being a manager or at an executive level, MBA executive will be the one for you. If you don't have that work experience, the MBA global will be for you. So now there's a slight difference between the MBA global, so the MBA that is made for those who don't have work experience, and the MSc business management. So the MSc business management is more of a typical conversion course. So if you're into theory, if you come from a different background, wants to get real foundation into business, that would be the course for you. If you want the quick career enhancer, if you want to put something that is nice on your CV, kind of get a job more easily than getting an MSc business management, then that would be the course for you. So the MBA Global. And then anything else would be really decent as well. Accounting and finance is really good, but also the financial technology course is really good as well. The financial technology one is kind of a mix between, it's a fintech course. So it's a mix between finance and kind of data analytics as well. Right. So those will be kind of an overview about the computer science and the business courses. Now, we do have some other courses available at master's level. So I listed down the courses available outside of those two faculties and those who are quite popular, but also quite good ranked at the university. So once again, conversion or progression courses, depending on which one you want to go into. Under the conversion courses, I would say the one that is really popular, even if you come from a psychology background, would be the MSc Psychology. So that one is really popular because it's approved by the BPS, so the British Psychology Society, which means that after only 1 year course of psychology, you'll be able to practice as a psychologist. So it gives you really good foundations if you want to convert from a different background to psychology, or if you do have a psychology background but wants to practice in the UK as a psychologist. So that would be your kind of gate through. Now, in terms of progression courses, so if you do have a background related to one of those disciplines, those would be the courses available for you. So we have public health nutrition. So the public health nutrition is one of our best recruiters and top courses at the university, approved by the AFN, so Association for Nutritionists, got a placement in it, integrated within the course, really decent, and gets you to work in any kind of area within public health or within nutrition, depending on what your focus would be. Really practical as well. And this is a good thing about all our courses, as you can see from the pictures that I've included here. So regardless of what you choose to study, you'll always get a mix of studies, so theory or lectures, seminars, but also practice. So we have plenty of workshops, plenty of time to practice. So if you're in nutrition, you'll have access to the laboratories. If you're into, let's say, accounting, you'll have access to all our Bloomberg room, which gives you access to all the data to retrieve, live numbers from what's happening in the market and so on. So to continue on the courses available, we have the LLM, Artificial Intelligence and Cyber Law. So this one is popular with our law students. So if you have any background related to law, this one is a good one to pick if you want to get that specialism into cyber law or artificial intelligence. That's quite niche, but if you're into any of this area, that would be a good one for you. We have the MA Social Work, really popular as well. It's a 2 years program. First year will be studies, second year will be placement. And then we have a mix of other courses as well. So the MSc Child and Adolescent Mental Health and Wellbeing. We have the Criminal Intelligence and Data Analytics, Policing and Law Enforcement, Applied Sports and Exercise Science. And then we have the MA Education courses. Now, talking about the MA Education courses, I want to give a special focus to the MA Education courses and the PGC teacher training. So what you need to know about us as a university is teacher training and education is the absolute top subject that we offer. This is where we get our reputation from. This is what we're known for in the UK. And this is basically what we do best. So if you are into education or into teaching, we might be a really good match for you. So in terms of teacher training, all our teacher training courses comes with QTS, so qualified teacher status, which means that regardless of which area of studies you choose to go into, so early years, primary or secondary, you'll leave the university with a QTS. So you'll be able to straight away get into the core, into teaching in the area of interest and get into a school to teach. Obviously, all our courses come with both theory, so your courses, but also the practice. So you'll spend a huge amount of time actually in schools teaching children or teaching your actual specialism if you're into secondary, like computing or geography or whatever. So you spend a lot of time actually teaching. This is for if you're into teaching, if you're into education, or if you want to kind of convert into those this area. So now, obviously, I'm giving you an overview about the courses available. Then, if you need details about what is needed to apply or how to apply, if your background matches the actual course, you can always reach out to Study with FM. They'll explain everything. They're in direct contact with me, so they'll be able to put an application for you, but also explain if your qualification matches and if you can actually apply for the course and get an offer. Right, so that was the postgraduate taught courses or the masters available. Now coming to the undergraduate subjects. So you've noticed that before I talked about the courses, because our master's kind of offer is quite reduced, so we don't have loads of courses available. And now at undergraduate level, I'm referring to it as subject, because if I had to talk about all the courses available, I promise you we'll be spending the whole night talking about the courses. So I've kind of wanted to include all the subjects available, not all of them, but the popular ones. And then under each subject, you'll find plenty of courses available. So we have, for example, accounting and finance, biology and biosciences, law, nursing, psychology. So all those courses, all those subjects, you'll find different courses under them. So if I take biology and biosciences, for example, you'll find things like biotechnology, biomedical science, biology, chemistry, biochemistry, plant science, and so on. So you'll find different courses related to each of those subjects listed here, depending on which area you want to kind of go into if you want a bachelor's degree. For example, if you have a diploma in nursing and you want to go into nursing, then you can choose from adult nursing or mental health nursing, for example. Right. So yeah, so if you kind of want bachelor's degree or undergraduate subjects, my advice would be go to the website and browse from our courses available, because once again, we have plenty of subjects available. Now, coming up to the interesting bit for you guys, I know. So what is actually required? How much is going to cost? What's the requirements and so on? So let me start with the fees and scholarships. So for the one thing you need to know, so let me start at the right, is all our offer holders, so whether you're undergrad, whether you want to go into a taught master's, MBA, or teacher training, or even a research degree, you'll be eligible for a £3,000 scholarship, which is called the Global Vice Chancellor's Scholarship. So this is automatically applied for all offer holders and for the first year only. So if you're talking about masters, it would be 1 year long anyway, so you'll get that scholarship. If we're talking about bachelor's degree, you'll only get that Global Vice Chancellor Scholarship for the first year only. And then the second and the third year, you won't get it automatically. So you need to kind of get first class to get another scholarship. Right, so now talking about this £3,000 scholarship, what it actually means. So the fees for our university will be on the table on the left of your screen. And after this scholarship is applied, which, as I said, is automatically applied, the fees you'll be paying would be for undergraduate studies, £11,500. For taught masters will be £12,000. MBA will be £12,500. The research degrees will be £15,000, and then for anything that is related to teacher training will be £15,000. So the fees on the left were the fees before the scholarship were applied, and the fees that I just listed down are after the scholarship is applied. So this is what is expected from you to pay the university in order to study with us, basically for the first year of your studies. Now, let me take the master's as an example. So how does it work in terms of paying the university? So you first off start with a £4,000 deposit. So this is what you initially pay the university before receiving your CAS and before going ahead with applying for your visa. So you start off with £4,000. Let me take the master's as an example. So it's £15,000 initially. You get the £3,000 scholarship that I told you about, which means you'll end up paying £12,000. This is what you'll actually be paying the university. Now, you pay the £4,000 deposit as a start before receiving your CAS, which means that when you join us, hopefully when you get your CAS, you apply for a visa and you come to us in September time, you will be left with an £8,000 balance left to pay the university. So these £8,000 balance left to pay is paid in 3 equal installments. So no payment is needed on enrollment, but the first installment will be due 1 month after you start. So let me get back again. So you have an £8,000 balance left to pay. This is in 3 equal installments. The first one being in October, so 1 month after you start. The second one will be in January, and the last one will be in April. If you're joining us in January for one of our available courses for January intake, you'll be expected to pay, start in January, expected to pay the first installment in February, second one in April, and last one in August, which means that out of the £8,000, you are expected to pay roughly £2,600 for each installment. So £2,600 in October, January, April. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, it's not very interactive, so I cannot get your reaction whether that makes sense or not, but you'll always have the chance to ask your questions at the end. But basically, this is what to expect in terms of payments. Now, that being said, I always take the time to annoy you with some advice in terms of payment, especially. So the one thing that I could advise you, whether you choose to come to Edgehill, whether you choose to come to Edgehill next year or choose to go to another university in the UK, this is something really important for you to know. So in the UK, the culture is very different from anywhere else, I would say, in the world. So basically, where I come from, for example, so I'm from Algeria, we have, though, this kind of compassion with one another. So let's say if I go to someone, I say, oh, sorry, I had these circumstances, I'll pay you later on. There will be this kind of help I get from people. And when coming to the UK, I got to realize really quickly that it's not necessarily always the case. So people will expect you, especially when it comes to paying things, whether it's your tuition fees, your rent, anything that is due, whether it's your taxes, whatever. People or like those bodies will always expect you to pay on time. Okay. So once again, this is advice for you, whether you take it or not. This is always good to take. So these 3 installment plans, you'll always be expected to pay on time. So if you don't pay on time, there could be trouble. So why I'm saying this is before you decide to go on a journey into studying in a UK university, please make sure, as I said, regardless of where you choose to go, make sure that the money you have available to study in the UK, you actually have it available. Because let's break it down. You can get a part-time job, right? So in the UK, as a student, you can get up to 20 hours per week to work. So out of those 20 hours a week, let's say you're lucky enough to get a job straight away, like within the first month. So a lot of students think, okay, I'll get there, I get a job straight away within the month and then start working. It's not always the case. And actually, in majority of cases, students get a job within 2 months, 3 months. This is when they kind of secure a job. Because the first month after you arrive, there are plenty of things to do. Register with a GP, get a bank account, get used to the university life, get used to your course, settling in the UK, all those kind of things. So people usually get a job within the second to third month of studies. Now, bear in mind that when you get a job, it's not always straightforward 20 hours. So sometimes you can get a contract for 8 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, depending on the job you get. So let's say you're lucky enough, you're very proactive, you have the skills and get a 20 hours job, okay? So if you get a 20 hours job, the minimum wage is somewhere around £12 an hour. So let's say you get a 20 hours job and you pay minimum wage. So you'll be expected to be paid somewhere around 900 to £1,200 a month maximum, which means that if you think that after paying the deposit, you come to the UK, go to a university, and then find a job to pay your tuition, pay your rent, and actually pay for your living expenses, whether it's your food, going out sometimes. Mathematically, this is impossible. Okay, so this was a bracket just to say, before making the step to your journey, please make sure that you're ready for that journey. Okay, right, enough of that. So yeah, so that's the scholarship, that's the tuition fees, deposit payment plan, and so on. So please ignore the Great Scholarship, which is £10,000. This is already passed, so that's not longer available. Maybe for next year, we don't know. But as for now, that's not longer available. So if you can pay a full tuition fee, if you can make a full tuition fee payment, so you have the £12,000, let's say, for masters available, and you choose to pay them all in one installment, you get a £500 discount, which means you'll only pay us £11,500. Or if it's undergraduate studies, you'll only pay us £11,000. So those will be the scholarships available. Another one is the International Achievement Scholarship. So this is for the undergraduate students or those who do have a degree that is longer than 1 year. So as I said, majority, if not all our master's courses will be 1 year long. So 1 year and you're done. But for undergrad, for things like MA social work, for example, there will be 2 years. Now, if you do more than 1 year degree and in your year of studies you score 70% or higher, you'll be eligible. So that's a first. You'll be eligible for £2,000 discount, right? So let's take the undergraduate as an example. So first year of studies, you'll be paying £11,500 because you have that £3,000 scholarship. Now, if during that 1 year of studies, you score 70% or higher, you get a £2,000 discount on your following year. So best case scenario for 3 years undergraduate studies, you'll be paying 11,500, 12,000, 12,000 because you score 70% or higher, or you're a really good student. So you get 11, 12, 12. Worst case scenario, let's say you don't score 70% or higher. So first, you'll get £11,500, 14, 14. I hope that makes sense. But if you want me to clarify or repeat it again, you can ask your questions at the end, obviously. So this was for the tuition fees. Now, coming up to the actual requirements. So what do you actually need to apply, get an offer, and join us at Edgehill? Let's start with the English requirements. So usually to join a university, you have 2 requirements. The first one being English. The second one will be the academic requirements. So let me start with English. Now, generally speaking, we do have test waivers, which means that to prove your English, typically you need an English test. But for Nigerians or for other English-speaking countries in Africa, we do have what we call test waivers. So for Nigeria, as an example, if you do have a WAEC or a NECO with a grade C6, we can waive your English test. However, it comes with specific requirements. So it's not just having a WAEC with a grade C6 and then you don't need an English test. So if you do have that WAEC or NECO with a grade C6, this qualification needs to be no older than 10 years old. So you need your WAEC or NECO to be obtained after 2016 in order to waive the need of an English test. Now, if your WAEC or NECO are older than 10 years old, So let's say you obtained them in 2012 or 2011, 28, whatever. But you graduated from university, so you've been to Nigeria to study bachelor's or master's or whatever. Then you can use your WIEC plus your MOI, or a letter of English proficiency from university. But you need to have graduated from university once again within the last 10 years. So if you have a WIEC no older than 10 years, you don't need an English test. If your WIEC is older than 10 years old, but you graduated from university after 2016, then you can submit a letter of English proficiency plus your WIEC, and then you don't need an English test. Now, if you don't meet that requirement, so your WIEC is older than 10 years, you graduated from university before 2016, so a while ago, then you need to take an English test. So we do approve a lot of different English tests. However, the one that I always recommend students to take would be the Duolingo test. So the Duolingo is quite easy to take. It's online, very kind of convenient, and then pretty much easy compared to others, but also less expensive than any other test. So that was for the English requirements. Now, so generally speaking, in terms of entry requirements, sorry, I didn't include them in the slides, but in terms of English academic requirements, basically, if you're looking to start with us as an undergraduate student, so we do have different intakes. So let me start with the foundation year. So we do offer an integrated foundation year, which means that it's 1 year of studies before your 3 years undergraduate studies. So to integrate a foundation year, all you need to have is a WIEC or an ECO. So if you have a WIEC or an ECO with a grade C6 with in at least 5 subjects, so WIEC, grade C6 in 5 subjects, you can join us straight into a foundation year, and then it's a 4 years integrated degree. And then you're done in any subject of your choice. If you want to join us in a first year of undergraduate studies, which is a 3 years degree, then what you'll need is a WIEC or an ECO plus an extra something. So we need to see either an international foundation year, we need to see either a diploma or an ND, or we need to see a WIEC plus at least 1 year of studies at a Nigerian university. If you studied 1 year at a Nigerian university, once you join us at Edgehill, we can get you straight into the year 1 and skip that foundation requirement. Now, if you want to join us in a year 2 or year 3 of an undergraduate studies, then it's a slightly more complicated process, but it is possible. So for example, if you studied 2 years at a Nigerian university or 3 years and wants to join us directly into year 2 or year 3, that might be possible under specific requirements. So we need to check your transcript from year 1 and year 2, for example, with our and compare them to our year 1 and year 2 in order to get you into a higher entry point. Now, this is for undergraduate bachelor's degree, basically. If you want to join us on a master's level, so taught masters, then all you need to have is a 2-2 bachelor's degree. So if you have a second class lower bachelor's degree, once again, coming back to our courses at master's level, make sure that either it's a conversion course, so it doesn't match your background, or your background matches the course you're applying for if you're going for a progression course. For example, if you're going for MSc Accounting and Finance, your bachelor needs to match that kind of course. But obviously, you don't need to worry about that too much. Study with FM will help you with that and make sure to match you with the right course. All you need to have is a 2-2 bachelor's degree. Now, this is for majority of our courses. Some of our courses do require higher or other requirements. For example, MA Social Work, we require you to have a 2-1, so a second class upper. Sustainable Leadership will require you to have a second class upper. So always make sure to double check the entry criteria just to make sure that it actually says 2-2. That being said, about 90% of our courses will require you to have a second class lower. So with a second class lower, bachelor's degree, you're expected to join any of our master's courses. Now, for HND holders, unfortunately, we don't have any top-up degrees that you can join. But if you have an HND plus a top-up program, so you've done HND plus a top-up of 2 years, for example, and then obtained your bachelor's degree, then you can go for a master's. But as a university, we don't really offer top-up programs, I'm afraid. Right, so that's about it in terms of requirements and information about the university. Now, the last thing I want to touch on would be accommodation, just for you to get an idea of what's available, but also to give you a price range or a fees range to plan for your move into our university if you choose to do so. So we have plenty of accommodation available on campus. We have more than 2,500 rooms available. Now, our rooms are guaranteed for all our undergraduate year one. So if you're an undergraduate bachelor's degree student looking to join us for a year one, the room will be guaranteed for you, unless you choose to stay outside of campus. So all our rooms are, so it will be your own room, so we won't be sharing it with anyone else. It'll be your own room or own bed, own desk, and so on. The pricing for that would be anywhere between £153, £90 and £163 a week, which means that on a yearly basis, you'd be expected to pay anywhere between £4,400 and £7,800 per year, depending on which accommodation you end up choosing. So if you're joining us for a master's degree, we won't be able to necessarily guarantee an accommodation for you on campus, but we have limited rooms available. So the earlier you apply, the earlier you get your unconditional offer, pay the tuition fee deposit, apply for the accommodation, the higher chances we'll be able to guarantee an accommodation for you on campus. Now, if you fail to secure accommodation on campus, that's not a big deal. As I explained at the start of this presentation, we have two types of students. So those who wants to stay around campus and those who wants to stay in Liverpool. So even sometimes if the accommodation is guaranteed for you, students choose to stay outside. So the town where we located, Ormskirk, is plenty of private accommodation and student accommodation that you can choose from. If you choose to stay in Liverpool, it's kind of the same thing. There will be plenty of student accommodation to choose from, homes, apartments, studios, whatever you choose to go into. So it's not the end of the world if you fail to secure accommodation on campus. Now, the range I told you about, so between £4,400 and £7,800 a year, is usually a good kind of indicator about what you'll be expected to pay on a yearly basis. Which means that if you find any accommodation that is kind of below £4,400, beware of scams. If you find accommodation above £7,800 a year, that means that you're more in the more expensive bit and you might find better options. Right, so that was me. That's all I had to say today. I mean, that's my presentation. I'm sure I'll have plenty of things to say following your questions. So if you do have any questions, want me to expand on anything, if you think that I didn't talk about something in particular, feel free to ask your questions and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Victory, on to you.
Thank you so much, Wally. Thank you. That was really, really insightful. I don't have a question though, because you mentioned it already, but I want you to repeat it so that the people that were not listening will hear that again. So when you apply for, or no, students who get the full or who are able to get the full tuition payment, that's the discount. Can they also receive the Global Vice Chancellor Scholarship?
Yes, yeah. That is correct. So you get both. So basically, the scholarship that you'll end up getting if you're willing to pay the full tuition is 3,500. So it combines. So that, let's say masters, for example. So let me get back to the slide so you can picture it as well. So the tuition fees, let's say masters. So you can see on the left that the initial tuition fees are £15,000. So let's say for those who are willing to pay the full tuition fees with one installment, so at the start, before receiving their CAS. It means that they will get the Global Vice Chancellor Scholarship of £3,000, so reducing it to £12,000, but also get the £500 discount of the full tuition fee payment discount, which means that in global, they will get £3,500 discount and end up paying £11,500 instead of £15,000. So you get overall £3,500 discount.
So once you've paid 11,500, it's considered that you've paid your full tuition for the semester or for the year rather.
For the year, yes. That means
Yeah.
if you pay 11,500, you're done with everything. So you don't need to pay anything to the university. You just go and live your life. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll be taking some questions and answers now.
Sure.
If you have any questions, you can just raise up your hand and we'll give you the platform to speak. But before we get into the people speaking, I think we have some questions for you in the Q&A. So I'm just going to take some of them.
Sure.
Yeah. So someone is asking if they need to do the A levels before they can register for the bachelor's degree.
So I would say yes. So A levels. So usually I get asked this a lot from students who are actually doing their O levels.
Mm-hmm.
My advice is take A levels because this is not just an Edgehill thing. If you take A levels, it will open up doors for you for more courses, more university, and then direct entry as well. So, for example, at Edgehill University, if you take an A levels, you only need 3 subjects. If you get anywhere between 3 Cs and 1B and 2 Cs, you can get straight into year 1. That's kind of fairly easy to attain. And also, most of our courses don't require specific subjects. So you can choose any subjects that you're comfortable with, choose the 3 that you're comfortable with, make sure to get at least a C in the 3 of them, and then you can access to pretty much any courses. But also what this will do for you is it will open up more doors for many universities in the UK as well. Obviously, I want you to come to Edgehill, but like this is for you as well, like just to
Yeah.
kind of don't stop at O levels or just think, oh, I'm not going to take my A levels, go to do a foundation, whatever, save some years. No. Friendly advice, take your A levels, get your 3 subjects, make sure you perform well. At least you will make sure that you get the best of the opportunities that will be available for you in the future in the UK, especially if you know you're going to study in the UK.
Okay, but just to confirm, without the A level, Edgehill is able to accept students with just WAEC.
Just WAEC.
Yeah, with just WAEC.
Yeah, so if you just have the WAEC, you can go into a foundation year. So if you have a WAEC, just make sure you have at least a grade C6 in 5 subjects, including English and math. So if you have C6 in at least 5 subjects, including English and math, you can go into a foundation year. So it's a 4 years degree. So instead of a 3 years bachelor, it'd be 4 years. You start with the foundation and then move ahead with the 3 years bachelor's degree. But yes, you can. So short answer, yes.
All right. Yeah. So I think there's someone raising their hand, Jokotola. So I'm just going to give you the opportunity to speak and ask your question. She's not raising her hand anymore. All right. So there's another question here for you, Walid.
Sure.
It says, does the university assess a PGD certificate for a student who has a BSc third class and wants to apply for an MSc in research?
Unfortunately, no. So for PGD, we don't accept it for masters. You may have a shot at applying for a 3rd-year bachelor degree entry, but to be completely honest with you, that would be kind of complicated to get into as well, though possible, especially when it comes to disciplines where there isn't necessarily a lot of practice or accreditations related to it. For example, biology or anything that is related to nutrition, those would be really hard to access, or even nursing. But if you're looking, for example, for business, computer science, these kind of more general subjects that kind of align also with universities in Nigeria, whether it's University of Lagos or any of those universities in Nigeria. Usually what I tend to see is business or computer science courses align with those delivered in Nigeria. So you have a better shot at getting into year three. But with a PGD, it's very hard to get into impossible to get into masters, but very hard to get into a year three as well. Now,
Okay.
for MRES, generally speaking,
Yeah.
third class, you won't be able to get into any of our master's courses. So you will need the minimum of a second class lower. That's the minimum. And then for MRES, the requirements are even higher. So you need the second class upper and a whole load of other requirements as well. So if anyone has a second class upper, is interested in MRES, I can explain it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very hard to get into MRS at Edgehill. It's kind of I don't want to discourage you in any way, but MRS at Edgehill, we have very few places available. So we're looking at profiles, though the minimum is second class upper, we'll be looking at profiles like first bachelor's degree. The student has already a topic in mind. The student already has a proposal even, and then we might be able to get something for them. But generally, MRES very hard to get into, with all honesty. So you guys know what to expect if you look into MRES at Edgehill.
Okay. So someone else is asking, what is the maximum study gap that Edgehill accepts for bachelor's degree and master's degree?
No study gap. So
Okay.
as long as you'll be able, if you have a study gap, let's say you graduated a long time ago, now you're looking to study again, you'll still be able to get an offer from us. The only challenge that you will be facing is from a visa point of view. So the UK VI will need justification to see what happened in between, which means that the university needs to do that due diligence to look into that gap as well. Which means that before we go ahead and issue your CAS, we may require you to ask a few additional questions. So if you have even 30 years gap, it doesn't matter. So you'll always have an offer to study in Edgehill and have the opportunity to study with us.
Mm-hmm.
However, we'll be asking you, like, what have you been doing in the meantime? What has been happening? Have you been working? Have you been exploring the world? Whatever. We need to know, like, what happened during that period. So as long as, for example, if you've been working, if you get a reference from, let's say, your employer or like a CV or even like payslips or whatever, we be able just to tick a box and say, yeah, that's fine, and then issue your CAS and you can come to join us. But basically, study gap, generally speaking, if you do have one, don't feel discouraged or, oh, I'm not going to get an offer, I won't be able to study. That's not the case. We accept students from regardless what age group it is and regardless of the study gap as well.
Okay. Okay. I hope you got your answer. I think the question was from Jude.
Right.
Okay. So this other question, I have applied to other schools
Mm-hmm.
for a master's in social work and they required me to provide IELTS. Will Edgehill accept my WAEC result for an MA in social work?
This is a very good question. So let me answer this one. So MA social work, why you've been getting those requirements for IELTS is because it's not a university requirement. So basically, the MA social work is part of a wider body in the UK. And that wider body in the UK requires a 7 grade in IELTS, which means that it forces us as universities to require IELTS from students. So we don't want to ask you for IELTS, but it is needed because of that body. So short answer is yes, but there is a but in my answer.
Yeah.
So don't take this as guarantee or anything, but we've been looking into accepting students into MA social work without an IELTS, provided that you can give us at least a B3. So if you have a WIAC with a B3, we might. So this is not approved yet. This is just maybe we'll
But
be able to.
the word maybe like they can
Maybe,
apply. Yeah.
yeah. But for now, so if you're applying now, want to get an offer now, an unconditional offer right now, pay the deposit and get it over with, be prepared to take an IELTS or a Duolingo. Just saying. So not just necessarily the IELTS. Just bear in mind that we'll be asking you for that kind of higher grade. So it will be equivalent of a 7 IELTS. Once again, not our fault. Don't blame us for that. But you'll be expected to show that for pretty much any university you'll be applying for MA social work. And friendly advice once again, if a university doesn't necessarily require an IELTS or an IELTS grade 7, just be mindful, beware, because it might mean that they don't have the necessary accreditation. Saying this as if I'm not saying anything, but yeah.
Okay. So in place of the IELTS or the Duolingo, does Edu have like a free English test that students have to
Mm.
take?
No, we don't currently have that in place. So you will need an external test. So things like IELTS, Duolingo, TOEFL, Pearson, Cambridge.
Yeah.
So those will be so those listed in here. So IELTS, Duolingo, TOEFL being the big three that we get from students, and then things like Cambridge, PTE, ISC, Euro exam, OTE, Oxford, and so on. So yeah, those would be the ones.
Okay. So someone else is asking, does the
Sure.
level 5 include accommodation as well?
The what? Sorry.
The 11.5, does that include accommodation as well?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that comes as bad news, but no. So the £12,000 or 11,500, depending on the year you'll be studying, is only the tuition fees. So that's what you'll be paying the universities for your studies. So you'll have obviously access to all the resources at the university, the teaching, the workshops, and so on. That's just the tuition fees. Now, in terms of accommodation, that would be separate. So that's your rent.
Mm-hmm.
It is separate because depending on the student, you might choose to stay, outside of the campus at a cheaper rate. So it will be a bit unfair to include it in the price while you might find cheaper. And obviously, there are also different accommodation prices, different fees available for you to choose from. So we give you the tuition fees as 12 or 11,500 after scholarship, and then give you the flexibility to choose the accommodation for your own on your rent. So once again, coming back to the accommodation. Oh, sorry. So coming back to the accommodation, you are expected to pay around between 4,400 and 7,800 a year, depending on which one you choose, if it's on campus. Outside, you'll be expected to pay within the same price range as well.
Okay. So there's someone raising their hand. Nicole, yeah, do you want to ask
Sure.
your question now? You can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yeah.
my first question is I'm asking with regards to my daughter. Um, the the scholarship, does it apply for because from your explanation, I was the one that asked about the requirements for someone who has WIEC. So she has WIEC. She just wrote WIEC and she has WIEC. Does it apply to the A levels? Because it seems like we are going to go for the A levels. So the scholarship, does it apply the 3,500 if we're going to pay in full? Does it apply for the A levels
Of
also?
course, yes. Yes. So it applies as long as your daughter has an offer to study with us, it will automatically be applied. So A levels, WIEC, NECO, whatever the qualification is, it's not tied to that qualification or specific grade. So this scholarship is usually seen because we know that international students usually when they come to us, they have a lot of expenses during that first year, whether it's visa, arriving, settling, and so on. So what we've done is we kind of remove that £3,000 off the tuition fees for everyone who has an offer to study with us, just to kind of ease the burden a little bit for that first year of studies, if that makes sense. So yeah, short answer is yes. Yeah. she will definitely be eligible.
Okay, yeah, so I think her question has been answered.
Okay.
Yes, so someone's asking, how long does it take to get an offer after applying?
So it's usually 10 working days is the average. So after you apply, you expect to get an answer back from us within 2 weeks on average. Can be less, can be more sometimes, depending on which course you're applying for, depending on the period. So it depends on different factors, but on average would be around 2 weeks or around 10 working days. As I said, can be faster, can be longer, can be 10 working days, but that would be the average.
So Nicole, you can just contact us later because I don't think that we can hear you. Um, yeah, someone is asking, does the duration of when the A-level program was taken affect the validity of the certificate?
Not at all. No. So it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if we can take one or two more questions. Yeah, so this is a good question. Say for placement programs, does Edu help students arrange the placements?
Yes. So placement programs, yes. So you'll have courses depending on which level of studies. So if you were talking about undergraduate courses or bachelor's courses, then you'll have two options. So the first option is called a sandwich year. So sandwich year, what it means is bachelor is usually 3 years, but if you go for sandwich year, it means that it turns your degree into a 4 years degree. So you study 2 years normally, like as you would, and then on your third year, instead of studying your final year, you'll be on your sandwich year. So that will be your placement year. And then the final year, and then the fourth year would be when you come back to finish your studies. So that sandwich year or that placement, obviously you'll have help from the faculty pointing you to the right direction, helping you applying for opportunities. The careers corner will point you to the right direction. We'll have career fairs, employers coming around, events across the year. So you'll always have those opportunities to connect with employers. However, it will always be your responsibility to secure the placement. So we'll help you, we'll push you to that placement opportunity, but it
Yeah.
will be how proactive you are and if you're really serious about that placement opportunity for you to get it. And as I said, all the support will be available for you. Whether it's because one thing that you need to know as well is every single student, regardless of which level you'll be studying, will be given a tutor. So the tutor will be one of your teachers who will be assigned to you personally. So they will be overseeing your experience, your satisfaction with degree, any needs that you may have. So they will be your main point of contact during your course. They will be the best contact to help you with placements, improving any areas that you might be struggling with, pointing you to the right direction, depending on the industry, specific companies you're looking for, and so on. Now, if you don't choose that sandwich year and you go for a 3 years normal degree, what some students usually do is during their final year of bachelor's, you'll have a final project for your dissertation to work on your final project. Let's say you've done, let's say, law, for example, and you're working on that 3 months or 4 months final project on a specific topic that you would have developed during the year. So some students, what they do is they pick a subject or a topic in an area of interest. Let's say, for example, you're doing engineering and you want to, like, your project will be related to mechanical engineering in, let's say, cars, developing an engine in a car for, I don't know, let's say McLaren or Aston Martin or whoever. So some students, what they do is they try to match that project to a company or an industry that is of interest to them, and then take that project and try to secure a placement on a volunteering basis with one of the companies that they pick for their projects or in the area, and then go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending, 6 weeks, depending on the arrangements with the company, and then work that final project in the company. So that's a smart way to do it as well. And once again, you get the support to get it. At master's level, though, so just a few courses come with a placement. So MBA Global comes with a 1-year placement opportunity. Once again, we won't give it to you, but all the support will be available for you to secure it. Social work comes with a placement. This is integrated. So whether you want it or not, you will get it. The second year of placement. Public health nutrition also have the postgraduate level, I'm talking masters. The public health nutrition also has a small placement related to it. I don't remember the duration, but I think it's 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. And then all the teacher training courses, if you want to become a teacher, all comes with the placement as well. Once again, whether you like it or not. You have specific hours that you need to teach in schools as well. So those will be the areas where you can get placement.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
I talk a lot, I feel like.
No, you're good. You're good. So I think we'll take like 2-3 more questions and then we're done for the day.
Okay.
Yes. So this question says, does Edgehill specifically have civil engineering, and are there specific entry requirements for civil engineering?
So we don't have civil engineering, no. Engineering is not available as a course at master's level, generally speaking. It's more at bachelor's level. So we have things like mechanical engineering or electrical or electronic engineering. But the one thing that I need to know, because I need to be transparent with you on the engineering side. So engineering is a new course at Edgehill. So it's been around 3 years now. So it's been developed recently. It's a decent course, but I wouldn't say we're a reference in terms of engineering. So it's not one of our best performing courses anyway. I'm not trying to send you somewhere else, but just so you guys know what's up.
Okay. So we've exhausted the time for the day. We don't want to keep anybody any longer. But our phone number is on the screen, and we have a form as well on the screen. So please, we want to just give you a minute to take down the phone numbers and send us a message, give us a call. We want to receive your documents, we want to receive your applications. We're hoping that we send all of the documents that we're receiving to Edgehill University. And Edgehill is a really good school. You've heard from Valid, you've heard most of your questions have been answered. So
Nice.
just take the number that you can see on the screen, send us a WhatsApp message, and we'll have someone available to attend to you. Our director Mahin is here. I don't know if she wants to say something to us.
Sorry to interrupt. I know Mahin, just to interrupt just a little bit. I wanted to say also, so if you're ready to apply, if you want to put an application through, obviously you go to study with FM, they take care of all the process for you, so you don't need to worry about that side of things. However, I know that we've been a bit short in time, and maybe some of you still have questions for me directly. If you want to get in touch, ask any questions or anything that I didn't answer today, if you go to our website, so Edgehill University, just type in on Google Edgehill University, just type in Nigeria in the search toolbar in Edgehill. You'll find most of the information I talked about today, so things related to the entry requirements, English requirements, but also at the bottom of the page, you'll find my contact details, so my email and WhatsApp number, if you have any questions that haven't been answered today. And then once you're ready for application, obviously, just go through Study with FM. They take care of everything for you.
Mahi, do you want to say anything before we close for the day?
I know, just want to say thank you to everyone taking time today and join us our webinar. I find it very useful, even though we are all the time working very closely with Walid. Still, I find it lots of good information, which was like very useful for all of the people attending. And as Walid said, the website is there. We are here to supporting. We had hosting Walid last year, physically coming to the office in Ibadan. If the people are from Ibadan or nearby, they can just even pop into the office. And also, you can see the contact on the screen. You could contact via WhatsApp or even direct the Nigerian contact number. If you have any question, we are happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mahin. So as we've come to the end of today's webinar, I want to sincerely thank everyone for joining us tonight. a very, very, very big thank you to Wally for taking time to speak
You're very
with us
welcome.
and share valuable information about Edgehill. So we hope that tonight has given everybody more clarity, more confidence about studying in the UK, about studying in Edgehill as well. If you already have your documents, you can begin sending them tonight. For anyone who has any more questions, please continue the conversation with us on WhatsApp because we are going to have to start looking at your documents, your courses, your qualifications. So thank you once again for spending your evening with us. We look forward to helping you begin your study abroad journey with Edgehill University. Don't forget our number is on the screen. So have a wonderful evening, everyone, and good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, team, and hope to see you around soon.
Yeah, sure. Bye.